Hey guys, this is Clinton Jeff from UnleashThePhones.com, and here's a quick video overview of the Nokia Lumia 620. The Lumia 620 is currently the cheapest Windows Phone 8 device you can get in Nokia's Lumia lineup, right next to the Nokia Lumia 820 and the even bigger Nokia Lumia 920, which are the current Windows Phone devices that you can get right now in a very colorful range. Now, Nokia is a company that's always been making some pretty decent budget devices so far. Like, for example, the Nokia Asha devices are pretty much the only recommendable cheap phones. But of course, there are people who don't want a cheap phone, they want a cheap smartphone. And in that case, the variety of devices out there can be quite limiting, considering how a cheap Android phone nowadays can be really slow, really sluggish, and not necessarily the best design and build quality out there. In fact, it's a little hard to put the word budget and smartphone together, at least until the Nokia Lumia 620 came along. The Nokia Lumia 620 might be a budget smartphone, but you'll honestly never guess it from the build quality. It's made out of a soft touch hard plastic, but it's classic Nokia levels of solid, and just like the rest of the Lumia range, Nokia is focused on vibrant colors to differentiate it from the rest of what's out there. The Lumia 620 is available in a range of interchangeable matte and glossy, bold and bright colored shells in lime green, orange, magenta, yellow, cyan blue, and the usual white and black. Nokia has used a new dual shot technology with the colors, where the base color layer is the foundation and then there's another color layer on top, which means, for example, a yellow base with a cyan blue layer on top would look lime green, and it's quite the brilliant effect, as you can see. All that in a form factor that's 115 by 61 by 11 millimeters and weighs in at 127 grams. It's compact enough to be used very comfortably, unlike most phones nowadays, which basically means that the Nokia Lumia 620 is actually very comfortable to use in your hand compared to the other giant devices out there. This is pretty tiny. Coming to the front, you have a 3.8-inch capacitive LCD display at WVGA resolution that's 480 by 800 pixels. It might not seem like much compared to the giant 4-point-something-inch phones out there, but the smaller size means that you can very easily use this phone in one hand comfortably. It also means that the WVGA resolution translates to a very decent 246 ppi pixel density, which in turn means you have plenty of details and you don't actually see that many jagged edges on text. The clear black display is also quite the benefit, allowing for deeper blacks and nicely saturated colors with wide viewing angles and high brightness. As a result, the display is a pleasure to use, except under direct sunlight, in which case the screen does tend to reflect a little bit. Above the display, you have the centrally located earpiece with a front-facing VGA camera and a proximity sensor. Below the display, you have the usual 3 Windows Phone keys for back, home, and Bing search. On the left side, you have no ports or keys at all, keeping it minimal, while on the right side, you have the volume rocker keys, a dedicated camera key, and the power and screen lock button. They're all conveniently placed and easy enough to use and find. At the top, you have the standard 3.5mm audio jack for headphones and a tiny pinhole for the secondary microphone, while at the bottom, you have the micro USB port for charging and connectivity, and a tiny pinhole for the main microphone. Coming to the back, you have a 5-megapixel camera and a single LED flash with the familiar Nokia branding towards the center and a tiny speaker grill towards the bottom. Coming to hardware, the Nokia Lumia 620 is powered by a 1 GHz dual-core Snapdragon S4 processor, which means everything is pretty fast. There's also Adreno 305 graphics, 512 MB of RAM, and 8 GB of internal memory, and a micro SD card slot as well. For its price, it's actually quite a lot of hardware, and because it runs Windows Phone 8, everything is really fast and really quick. In fact, next to the Nokia Lumia 920, you won't actually notice that much of a speed difference at all, which is more than you can say for the slow, sluggish Android phones at this price range. In terms of connectivity, there's also 3G, HSPA, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 3.0, GPS, and even NFC to make it easier to pair with compatible Nokia accessories. Coming to software, as we mentioned many times before, the Nokia Lumia 620 runs Windows Phone 8. We've talked about Windows Phone 8 many times before in our Windows Phone 8 review, our Nokia Lumia 920 review, and our Nokia Lumia 820 review. So do check out those if you want a detailed analysis of what Windows Phone can and cannot do. But just in case, I'll cover the important bits. By now, you've probably heard of the Windows Phone 8 interface and those live tiles that you can resize and position according to how you like them. It's similar to the start screen interface of Windows Phone 8 and Windows RT, and the new live tiles allow you to fit more apps and shortcuts on the screen and ensure that however you set up your Windows Phone, it'll be completely different to anybody else's. Swipe from the right and you'll see a list of your apps and games. The Windows Phone OS is relatively lightweight in comparison with Android, and as such, it performs very well on the 620, and you have no instances of lag or slow slowdowns at all. Microsoft doesn't allow manufacturers to change the UI on Windows Phone like Google allows OEMs to do so with Android, which means it's the same UI in all manufacturers. As such, in order to differentiate, Nokia offers some exclusive apps on their Windows Phone, such as Nokia Maps, Nokia Music, and many other apps like that. You also have the usual Microsoft goodness like built-in Office and Xbox Live. Apart from that, what really makes Windows Phone stand out is the People Hub, which has very deep Facebook and Twitter integration. Windows Phone has a lot going for it right now, but unfortunately it doesn't have as many apps as Android and iOS does. But like I said, we have covered this in super detail in our Windows Phone 8 review, so do check that out at the link below. Coming to web browsing, you have Internet Explorer to work with on the Nokia Lumia 620. It does the job pretty well. There's pinch to zoom, double tap, and everything you'd expect out of a mobile browser, and it looks pretty decent on the 3.8-inch 480 by 800 pixel resolution display. Coming to multimedia, you have support for DivX and Xvid video, and it all plays back pretty fine. Coming to music, there's the usual file type, so you can sync over from Windows Phone app. And you also have Nokia Music, which is a very cool free streaming solution where you can stream music over and even download it to play back later. Coming to text input, the Windows Phone keyboard is actually one of the best keyboards out there, and as such it is pretty easy to use on the Nokia Lumia 620, and it's very comfortable too thanks to that screen size. The Nokia Lumia 620 features a 5 megapixel camera with a single LED flash, and you also have a front-facing VGA camera for video calls. In terms of video, you can record at up to 720p resolution. Coming to call quality, it was a pretty decent experience thanks to the dual microphones on the Nokia Lumia 620. As such, you get noise cancellation and voices come in loud and clear on both ends of the call. That being said, I'm not a fan of where they put the loudspeaker on the back because it does tend to get muffled by the way you hold your phone, and it's also not as loud as the Nokia Lumia 920, but it's still loud enough in my opinion. Coming to battery life, the Nokia Lumia 620 is powered by a little old 1300 mAh battery. That might not sound like much, but that was more than enough battery life to get through an entire workday's worth of moderate usage. To conclude, the Nokia Lumia 620 is really a fantastic piece of machinery. I know it's a budget phone, but I was really impressed with it. You have a great design, vibrant colors that really make it stand out, a decent camera, and Windows Phone 8 is generally enjoyable to use as well. And it definitely runs quicker than any other Android phone at this price range. To be honest, I do like finding things to complain about phones, and I couldn't really find much to complain about with the 620. For its price tag, it's actually really amazing value for money. What's funny is that in the same price range, you don't really have any other Windows Phone nearby that's comparable to this. You have the HTC 8S, for example, but that doesn't have a front-facing camera, and you don't have the exclusive Nokia apps to really make the 620 worth that price tag. Moving to Android, there's the HTC One V, which is kind of in the same price range, but is a single-core processor and isn't as fast as this either. Now that being said, if apps isn't issue for you, you have to know that with Windows Phone, it is a bit of a risk. You don't actually know if you will be getting all the apps released out there, or all the popular apps either. But if apps aren't an issue for you and you are on a budget, then the Nokia Lumia 620 is basically the best budget smartphone that you can buy. But hey, don't just take my word for it. Check out our detailed review over on unleashthephones.com. And as always, if you guys have any questions, do let me know right in the comment section below. And as always guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because that's the cool thing to do. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching guys.